A complete revolution. 25 for 50. Now, LB Finance introduces a high interest rate of 25% for your 50-day fixed deposits. LB Yasa Isuru, an unparalleled reward for a trusted deposit.
Welcome to Primetime News here on TV1. I'm Bisal Kapuge bringing you the news for News First, where we are and always will be with the people. Let's first start off by taking a look at your headlines.
Police fire tear gas and water cannons to disperse Socialist Youth Union against suppression. Many arrested. High security zones. BASL hits out at using Official Secrets Act. Civil organizations step out against suppression.
අපි මේක බාර ගන්න ලෑස්ති නෑ.
මේ ක්‍රීඩාව අපි කරලා බලමු.
Will the objectives of the National Council be fulfilled? Is there all-party representation?
මොනෝ කරන්නද ඔය පරණ මූණු ටික ඕකස්සේ දාගෙන? මොන වීලුවක්ද මේ? කො මේ රටේ අරගලේ ක්‍රියාකාරී පුද්ගලයින් කොතන?
A government headed by Mahinda Rajapaksa will be formed in the future, says Mahindananda.
නැවත මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමාගේ නායකත්වයෙන් අපේ රජය බිහි කිරීමට අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
Now, on your top story, the police fired water and tear gas to disperse peaceful protest march organized by the Socialist Youth Union against suppression. Police media spokesman SSP Nihal Thalduwa stated that 84 people, including 2 monks, were taken into custody by the police during the protests. This includes 4 women and 78 men.
The protest, organised under the theme New Energy for the Aragalaya, The Youth is Back to Colombo, began at the Lipton roundabout. Police made an announcement informing protesters to disperse from the area. However, the group continued their protest at the Lipton roundabout and prepared to march towards Dean's Road in Colombo. Police fired water cannons and tear gas at the protesters near the Ministry of Health. Water cannons were fired at the protesters once again. The police also arrested protesters.
රනිල් රාජපක්ෂලා කින්න මෙහෙම ගහන්න එපා මහත්තයෝ. මහත්තයලට හොඳ අපි රට හැදුවතින්. තාජුට ඉන්න මරලා එක් නැලි ගොඩව මරලා මහ බංගුව මංගොල්ල ගාපු එක අවල්ලලා තියන්නේ. අපි මේ ආවේ හොරකම් කරන්න නෙමෙයි මහත්තයෝ. අපි මේ ආවේ ඇත්ත කතා කරලා අපේ රටේ අනාගත තරුණ පරම්පරාව වෙනුවෙන් මේ රට ආරක්ෂා කරලා දෙන්න.
මගේ ෆෝන් එක අරගලයට ජය වේවා ජීවත් වීමේ අයිතිය වෙනුවෙන් පාරට බැස්ස මිනිස්සු මේ කුදලගෙන යන්නේ අපි මහ බැංකුව කොල්ල කෑවේ නෑ
තමයි
National organizer of the Socialist Youth Union was also arrested by the police.
We request Ranil to build more prisons, but nobody can stop us from sending you. You can continue to put all of us behind bars. You will receive more funds to build more prisons as well, but we will not stop our struggle.
Those who were injured during the protest were directed to the Colombo National Hospital. Following the attack on the protesters, the group once again held a protest rally near Town Hall.
We would like to inform the Ranil Rajapaksa government, you have violated your own gazettes. Our fellow peaceful brothers and sisters have protected it. There were many police officers who arrived here with their orders. Now let's see. We will spoil your plans in 2 steps. One is to visit the Supreme Court early on Sunday morning with the number plate details. We were first accused of unlawful assembly. Next it was the PTA. They tried to scare us. We're not afraid. Now they've got this Official Secrets Act and they're talking about regulations, telling us not to protest. We will challenge this act. I repeat, this act is illegal.
Janata Vimukti Peramuna leader Anura Kumara Disanayaka arrived at the Maradana police station to visit those who were arrested.
The ones who have to be inside are out, and the ones who should be out are in. These are peaceful protests. None of them behaved in a disruptive manner. Ranil Wickremesinghe and Mahinda Rajapaksa are acting against democracy. We urge them to stop implementing these autocratic, undemocratic means and methods to rule the country. Today we can stop this, but tomorrow or in the coming days, the Rajapaksas will not be able to stop people coming to Colombo in the thousands. 85 have been arrested and 5 have been hospitalized due to injuries. The people are coming together against undemocratic rule of these Rajapaksas. People need to find places to hide from the people of this country if you wish to continue to suppress the citizens in such a barbaric manner.
A silent protest was carried out at the Kolpiti junction today.
We are saddened today by what has occurred at Maradana and near the public library. We are saddened. More than 84 arrests of fellow civilians who are standing up for their basic needs, their rights. So you tell me, as a Sri Lankan, would you like to see this in the future? Would you like to see this happen to your children and your children's children? Why are they afraid of us? I think they are afraid because they know that if we are united, we can make change. And change is something which is really needed in this country.
The Aragale is everywhere. We are here at least in small numbers because people don't have food to eat. 3 meals have become 2 and 2 will soon become 1. We are here because of all those people. The law must be equal to all. You can't solve starvations through suppression. Things will only get worse in the future.
නීතිය කියන එක කොහෙවත් එක විදියට නීතිය තියෙන්න ඕනේ හැමෝටම. බඩගින්න නිවන්න බෑ තර්ජනය කරලා. මේක තව වැඩි වෙන එක විතරයි වෙන්නේ.
The Bar Association of Sri Lanka emphasizes that the Section 2 of the Official Secrets Act enable to declare any land, building, ship or aircraft as prohibited place and does not empower the minister to declare large areas high security zones. Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe via an extraordinary gazette yesterday declared multiple areas in Colombo as high security zones.
According to the Gazette, unless the prior written permission of the Inspector General of Police or the Senior Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of the Western Province is obtained, no person shall conduct or hold a public gathering or procession whatsoever on a road, ground, shore or other open area situated within the high security zones. The BASL states that it is deeply concerned with regard to the declaration of certain areas in Colombo as high security zones and whether the purported order of the President also seeks to create offences under the said order which are not found in the Principal Act. The statement reads, and I quote, "It is also of utmost concern that the purported order imposes stringent provisions in respect of bail by stating that a person taken into custody in connection with an offence under the said orders shall not be granted bail except by a High Court. The Official Secrets Act contains no such provisions, and in fact Section 22 of the Act empowers a magistrate to release a suspect on bail. As such, the purported order seeks to significantly curtail the liberty of the citizen without any reasonable or legal basis. The BASL is deeply concerned that under the cover of the purported order under Section 2 of the Official Secrets Act that there is the imposition of draconian provisions for the detention of persons who violate such orders, thus violating the freedom of expression, the freedom of peaceful assembly and the freedom of movement, all of which are important aspects of the right of the people to dissent in Sri Lanka." Unquote. Therefore, the Bar Association states that it will be carefully studying the provisions of the said order and take appropriate legal action to ensure that the fundamental rights of the people are secured.
Many questions are being raised with regard to the President's decision to declare multiple areas in Colombo as high security zones. What are these high security zones? Parliament Complex.
The zone falls within the perimeters from Poldua Junction to the Speaker's residence, Kumbugahadua Road, Rajamalwatta Road, Jayantipura Junction, Jayantipura Road and Parliament Road, including the Avanna Lake.
Supreme Court Complex, High Court Complex Colombo, Magistrates Court Complex Colombo and Attorney General's Department.
The zone falls within the perimeters from Dam Street, Halfstrop Street, Sanchiarachi Gardens Road, Parcel Roundabout, St. Sebastian's Hill Street, Mihindumawata.
Presidential Secretariat, President's House, Sri Lanka Navy Headquarters and Police Headquarters.
The zone falls within the perimeters from NSA Roundabout to Police Headquarters along Chaitya Road and Berry Lake, Morgan Road, Justice Akbar Mawata, Baladaksa Mawata to Goldface Roundabout and the respective seashore.
The Ministry of Defence and Sri Lanka Army Headquarters, Akuregoda.
The zone falls within the perimeters of the Ministry of Defence Mawata, Viyavanna Garden Road, School Lane, DG Vijay Singha Mawata.
Sri Lanka Air Force Headquarters, Slave Island.
The zone falls within the perimeters of Berry Lake, Chittampalam A. Gardiner Mawata, Morgan Road to Justice Akbar Mawata.
Prime Minister's Office, Flower Road.
The zone falls within the perimeters of the Flower Road, Inner Flower Road, 5th Lane and the 27th Lane.
Temple Trees, Kolpiti.
Rotunda Junction of the Gaul Road to Perahara Mawata, Alvis Road Junction through Rotunda Roundabout from Dharmapala Mawata to Kolpiti Junction, Kolpiti Railway Station to Station Road, Liberty Roundabout, a part of Gaul Road are the perimeters of this zone.
Official residencies of Secretary to the Ministry of Defence and the commanders of Tri-Forces.
Baudwaloka Mawata, Tumulla Junction, Sri Sambuddha Jayanti Mawata Junction are the perimeters of this zone. Places of diplomatic immunity located within the respective areas are not included in the high security zone.
What are the acts that are banned in these high security zones?
Unless the prior written permission of the Inspector General of Police or Senior Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of Western Province is obtained, no person shall conduct or hold a public gathering or procession whatsoever on a road,
Many questions are being raised with regard to the President's decision to declare multiple areas in Colombo as high security zones. What are these high security zones? Parliament Complex.
The zone falls within the perimeters from Poldua Junction to the Speaker's residence, Kumbugahadua Road, Rajamalvatta Road, Jayantipura Junction, Jayantipura Road and Parliament Road, including the Avanna Lake.
Supreme Court Complex, High Court Complex Colombo, Magistrates Court Complex Colombo and Attorney General's Department.
The zone falls within the perimeters from Dam Street, Halfstrop Street, Sanchiarachi Gardens Road, Parcel Roundabout, St. Sebastian's Hill Street, Mihidumavata.
Presidential Secretariat, President's House, Sri Lanka Navy Headquarters and Police Headquarters.
The zone falls within the perimeters from NSA Roundabout to Police Headquarters, along Chaitya Road and Berry Lake, Morgan Road, Justice Akbar Mawata, Baladaksa Mawata to Goldface Roundabout and the respective seashore.
The Ministry of Defence and Sri Lanka Army Headquarters, Akuregoda.
The zone falls within the perimeters of the Ministry of Defence Mawata, Viyavanna Garden Road, School Lane, DG Vijay Singha Mawata.
Sri Lanka Air Force Headquarters, Slave Island.
The zone falls within the perimeters of Berry Lake, Chittampalam A. Gardiner Mawata, Morgan Road to Justice Akbar Mawata.
Prime Minister's Office, Flower Road.
The zone falls within the perimeters of the Flower Road, Inner Flower Road, 5th Lane and the 27th Lane.
Temple Trees, Kolpiti.
Rotunda Junction of the Gaul Road to Perahara Mawata, Alvis Road Junction through Rotunda Roundabout from Dharmapala Mawata to Kolpiti Junction, Kolpiti Railway Station to Station Road, Liberty Roundabout, a part of Gaul Road are the perimeters of this zone.
Official residencies of Secretary to the Ministry of Defence and the commanders of Tri-Forces.
Baudwaloka Mawata, Tumula Junction, Sri Sambuddha Jayanti Mawata Junction are the perimeters of this zone. Places of diplomatic immunity located within the respective areas are not included in the high security zone.
What are the acts that are banned in these high security zones?
Unless the prior written permission of the Inspector General of Police or Senior Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of Western Province is obtained, no person shall conduct or hold a public gathering or procession whatsoever on a road, ground, shore or other open area situated within the high security zones.
The Official Secrets Act does not in any way give the President nor the Defence Minister any power to determine high security zones and prohibit entry to them. The President has the ability to enact a law only when there is a state of emergency. As of now, the state of emergency is not in effect in Sri Lanka. What are you trying to do? This is an attempt to suppress people's protests. Two issues are expected to be submitted to the court. One is a public official acting beyond his authority. The second is the violation of basic human rights. The lawyers are hoping to go to court to call for the cancellation of this gazette based on these two matters.
The Movement for the People's Council held a central meeting today and commented on the declaration of several places in Colombo as high security zones.
What is the justice here? We are not ready to accept this. We have one thing to say. Although you may be safe inside those high security zones, all other zones are unsafe for you.
ජනතාව අතරට ආවොත් අප නැති වෙන්නේ උඹලට. ඒ නිසා මේ ක්‍රීඩාව අපි කරලා බලමු.
The day before yesterday, one of them was hit by the helmet. So many more incidents could happen. Although you can't lit fireworks, it doesn't say you can't hit them with helmets. It doesn't say that you can't shout. So it would be better if you add those in there, since it's possible that such things could also happen in those high security zones. They went before the Human Rights Commission in Geneva and talked about the people's rights. But even before the sessions have ended, they make these declarations that no one can step out on the streets. They're trying suppressing social media, websites. Where is this heading? They're preparing the ground to suppress the media. So now it is not possible to protest. It is not possible to express opinions through the media. This is a joke.
The all-party Aragalaya activists announced today that appointing a cabinet subcommittee to establish a broadcasting authority on social media and electronic media is suppression of democracy. They emphasize that this is a violation of the freedom of expression and an attempt to demolish democracy. They reiterated that if the Wickramasinghe government is attempting to establish a police rule, the people are ready to fight it. The announcement further added that they demand the government to stop acts of cruelty against democracy.
The MPs appointed to the National Council were announced yesterday based on the consensus reached recently in Parliament, considering the demands of the people engaged in the struggle for an all-party interim administration. The Freedom Defenders Organisation, which was active during the Aragalaya, held a press conference today and commented on the appointment of the National Council.
The National Council was appointed yesterday. Who is in the National Council? What was demanded by the Aragalaya? At a time when the democracy of the people of this country is shattered, the Aragalaya demanded a method to represent the sovereign power and opinion of the people. But what we see are the same old faces. We ask, what are we to do with the same old faces? What a joke! Where are the active people of the Aragalaya in this country? Are you planning to build this country by working with us? Now you are saying that a committee has been appointed to regulate social media and media. You understand what is going to happen. Another repressive program is on its way. Understand this.
Parliamentarian Gajendra Kumar Ponnambalam says that he was completely unaware that he was nominated for the National Council until he saw it in the media. The Speaker announced the structures of the National Council in Parliament yesterday. I only discovered my name was there through the media. They didn't discuss the National Council nominees with us. Therefore, we issued an open statement saying that we will not participate in the National Council. The people have rejected the Parliament. We demand the Parliament allows the people to decide who should come into power. We are ready to support the government to conduct an election and to gather funds to conduct an election. In this situation, Ranil Wickramasinghe, who the people have rejected completely, has become the executive president and pretends he has the people's mandate behind him. We will not condone such actions. We strongly stand by our statement in and outside Parliament.
The campaign to obtain signatures from the public demanding the immediate withdrawal of the Prevention of Terrorism Act, which began in Jaffna, reached Kalutara today. The program was carried out today with the participation of civil and political activists.
We took this protest to Goldface the day before yesterday. They tried to stop us, but they failed. We protested opposite the Hulsdorf courts. The police arrived and tried to stop us, but we didn't allow them to do so. We had a plan for that. It's only after that they added those two zones and the Parliament was named as a high security zone through a gazette. We will not adhere to these. We will not even take it into account. We will continue our fight. People will take the streets. No one can stop that. They're declaring the areas we protest in as high security zones, which means that there is fear instilled in them that the Aragalaya will return. In particular, we are saying that the Prevention of Terrorism Act is being used to suppress us. We are saying that this PTA will be used to suppress the people when the Aragalaya returns as version 2.0 and 3.0. This will be used against the people regardless of their race. We will continue this fight until they repeal the PTA.
The opposition leader has strongly criticized the government over the high security zones in Colombo.
This government has started an angle to suppress the people. Those young heroes who raised a loud voice for the rights of the people of this country have been imprisoned using the PTA. What this government is doing is violating the basic rights of the people of this country by limiting the freedom of speech, freedom of assembly and freedom of march. They have announced high security zones now. This is completely illegal because this means that people are forbidden to express their grief. I would like to ask if the people don't have a right to express their problems. The government led by the current president is destroying democracy and implementing a dictatorial rule based on its own rules and regulations. Next is media suppression. The cabinet has approved through a committee that the media of this country should wear a muzzle. If these media outlets don't do what the government says, they will cancel the licenses of the media outlets. Then the media stations which carry information to the people will be closed. They're trying to silence the people through this. We should stop this suppression through the people's power and bring victory to the people's mandate.
Let's now cross over to a short commercial break and come back for more news.
News First, main sponsor.
Anka ege araksita iti gini petti. Surya gini petti. නිවෙස පුරා ගලන මේ සතුට සුරක්ෂිත කරන්නේ Eslon Inside. Eslon ජීවයයි ජලය ජීවිතේ.
Welcome back to the news. As our nation is battered by the worst economic crisis since independence, the lives of many people in our country are falling apart. Those who struggle to make ends meet back then today survive on just one meal a day. This is the story of another family battling to earn barely enough to survive.
Sugat Marasinghe, who lives in Uwaparanagama, was able to feed his 3 children and his wife by doing hired work. But now he can hardly find any work. That is because the people who used to call him for jobs are also struggling economically now.
සතියේට දවස් දෙකක් තුනක් අපිට කුලිය වැඩ තියෙන්නේ 1300ක් 1200ක් පඩිය හම්බ වෙන්නේ. ඉතින් මේ පඩිය අරගෙන ඇත්තටම ජීවත් වෙන්න අපිට ගොඩාක්ම අමාරුයි. දරුවා ඉස්කෝලේ මාසෙකමාරක් දැන්ට යවා ගන්න බැරි වුණා. මොකද ඒ දරුවට පොත් වගේක් අරන් දෙන්න කියලා තියෙනවා. ඒ පොත් ටික තවම මට අරන් දී ගන්න බැරි වුණා. මේ එන මේ අප්‍රේල් වල සාමාන්‍ය පෙළේ ඉන්නේ.
The younger son is 14 years of age. These 2 school-aged children right in the midst of many hardships. Sugat Marasinghe tries to keep his family going somehow.
දැස්සක් කෙනුට හුළඟක් කෙනුට ගේ ඉදිරි ටික ඉරිලා ගොඩාක් අපහසුතාවයට පත් වෙනවා. ළමයිට ඇඳුම් මාරු කරන්නවත් හරියකට ඉන්නවත් තැනක් නැහැ. පාඩම් කරන්නවත් විදිහක් නැහැ. ලාම්පු කුප්පියෙන් තමයි ජීවත් වෙන්නේ. සරපයෝ ගෙටේ නම බිම පැදුරු දාගෙන ළමයි අපි නිදාගන්නේ. ඒතරම ගොඩාක් අපි අසරණයි.
At present, many of the families in our country are living such sad lives. Who will save these people from this misery?
News First with the people.
Former Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage says that by next December, the crisis in the country will come to an end and a new government will be formed under the leadership of Mahinda Rajapaksa.
Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna awareness program headed by MP Namal Rajapaksa was held in Kandy today. I admit that we need a system change. The Aragale has fair demands, but there are problems in this regard. They were heroes back then and now they've become drug addicts.
වීරිය විදියට හැසිරුණාට අද මත්ද්‍රව්‍ය භාවිතා කරන අය බවට පරිවර්තනය වෙලා තියෙනවා. අපිට අරගල එක ගැටලුවක් නෑ, අපි අරගල කරුවා එක ගැටලුවක් තියෙනවා.
තව අවුරුදු දෙකමාරක් තියෙනවා මැතිවරණයක් සඳහා යන්න.
We want to tell you that there are still 2.5 years to go for elections, a presidential election and a parliamentary election. Local government elections are to be held in March. There is still time for the local government elections. We believe that by December, we will be able to come out of this crisis to a large extent. We hope to restore this country and take this party forward and form our government under the leadership of Mahinda Rajapaksa.
අපේ රජයක් බිහි කිරීමට අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
The Sri Lankan government has asked a US judge to dismiss the case filed by Hamilton Reserve Bank for defaulting on bonds. This report comes to us from Bloomberg News.
The Bloomberg report states that the Sri Lankan government had requested that the case in New York be dismissed over the country reaching debt default, stating that the case brought by one bank is an apparent attempt to gain leverage over a nation in crisis and jump ahead of other foreign creditors. Hamilton Reserve Bank, based in the Caribbean islands of St. Kitts and Nevis, filed legal action citing the country's default on a $1 billion sovereign bond. The 5.875% interest international sovereign sovereign bonds were due for payment 2 months ago on the 25th of July 2022. When contacted by Newsfirst, the Finance Ministry confirmed that arguments were presented with regard to the relevant case. According to court documents seen by Newsfirst, Hamilton Reserve Bank has charged that under the terms of the bond, Sri Lanka owes it a total of over $257 million. Hamilton Reserve Bank previously alleged that Sri Lanka's default was being orchestrated by officials at the highest level of its government and also charged that the Rajapaksa family was responsible.
Let's cross over to another commercial break and come back for more news.
ලොවටම එළිය දෙන්න දිලෙන සූර්යා අමතක වෙන්නෙම නැති නමගේ සූර්යා පොහොතින් දැල්වෙන ගිනි කුර සූර්යා කවදත් නමගත් ගිනි පෙට්ටි සූර්යා කවදත් නමගත් ගිනි පෙට්ටි සූර්යා කවදත් කොතනත් සමගේ විශ්වාසය දිනාගත් අංක එකේ ආරක්ෂිත ඉටි ගිනි පෙට්ටි සූර්යා ගිනි පෙට්ටි.
Now back to the news. The 92nd National Day of Saudi Arabia was celebrated in Colombo yesterday, the 23rd of September.
Minister at the embassy, Abdullah Al-Khobi, joined Saudi Arabia's newly appointed ambassador to Sri Lanka, Khalid Hamud Nasser Al-Dasan Al-Qahtani, in receiving the galaxy of guests from the diplomatic corps, the cabinet, parliament, Sri Lankan business community, clergy, public and private sectors. The reception was launched with the singing of the national anthems of the kingdom and Sri Lanka, followed by the traditional Saudi folk dances.
UK Minister of State for the Middle East, South Asia and the UN, Lord Tariq Ahmad, says the UK is providing £3 million in assistance to Sri Lanka.
In a tweet, Minister Ali Sabri said during the meeting with the UN General Assembly, Lord Tariq Ahmad had said that the UK wishes to provide urgent food and farming support to Sri Lankans hit hardest by the economic crisis. While extending gratitude for the assistance, Minister Ali Sabri had briefed Lord Tariq Ahmad on steps being taken towards reconciliation and accountability in Sri Lanka.
Foreign Minister Ali Sabri tweeted that he had productive discussions with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. He said they discussed bilateral ties and cooperation between multilateral agencies. The Sri Lankan Foreign Minister said Minister Yi assured that China will offer steadfast support to the Sri Lankan economic recovery. He added that Sri Lanka can rely on China as a trusted partner in facing the challenges ahead. Foreign Minister Ali Sabri also met with State Minister of the UAE, Ahmed Al Said. In a tweet, he said they discussed bilateral cooperation, including UAE investment in Sri Lanka and improving air connectivity.
The Foreign Minister spoke to foreign media on Sri Lanka's stance with regard to geopolitical tensions.
Has traditionally been a non-aligned member of the international community. So we work with everyone. So we don't want to take sides and part of this geopolitics. But in a globalized world, nobody is spared. You need to work with everyone else.
But times have changed since Sri Lanka chaired NAM, the non-aligned movement, back in 1976. Yes. Today, in 2022, are you able to withstand those pressures?
Yeah, we have successfully withstood so far and will continue to do that. That doesn't mean that we don't engage. We do engage, but we don't want to be part of somebody else's battle. We will choose, pick and choose what is good for our country.
A workshop in line with the 2022 European Day of Languages celebrations was held at the University of Visual and Performing Arts today.
The workshop, conducted by two seasoned musicians and songwriters from New York, Elian Amherd and Amanda Ruza, was held at the University of Visual and Performing Arts in Colombo today. It focused on musical genres such as jazz, pop rock, African and Brazilian music. Students from the music department of the Visual and Performing Arts University in Colombo and the Kalani University took part in the event. It included various performances and interactive sessions with the students.
Actually, it was amazing. We had a very good time. It's a very successful and very informative masterclass. At this moment, we would like to thank the European Embassy, the Swiss Embassy.
So this is a special opportunity to share a bit the culture, a bit the languages, and to build bridges between nations. But they play jazz in a multilingual form. So they are singing in Portuguese, in French, in German, in English, in most of language, Spanish. They do everything in different shows.
World music rhythms in the Western style, like Brazilian music, salsa, a little bit of funk.
Yeah.
What else do we do? Some calypso,
pop even.
Yeah, pop.
Yeah, but not like modern pop, more like pop from the 80s or something like that. Yes. Yeah.
And what do you think about Sri Lankan music?
I really like it. I haven't had enough time. I think this is like a big inspiration. So when I go back to New York now, I will check out much more Sri Lankan music. And the students right now, they sang a song for us, and honestly, I started teary a little bit. It was so beautiful.
I'm loving this collaboration that, yes, we're here to teach a little bit of the music that we do, but I am learning so much from your country, from your culture, and just the students and the music. This is such an amazing country, and as much as everybody's learning from us and listening to our music, I am listening to your music, and I want to incorporate some of Sri Lanka music into my music.
The European Union, together with the Embassy of Switzerland, Italian Embassy, French Embassy, Alliance Française, Goethe Institute and the British Council will be hosting a multilingual jazz music tour across 3 key cities in Sri Lanka with the view of celebrating this year's European Day of Languages falling on the 26th of September. The multilingual jazz music tour will feature mainstream pop rock, jazz fusion, jazz pop and Latin jazz. The first concert of the tour was held this evening at the Sri Lanka Foundation Institute. The tour will continue in the coming days in Kandy and Jaffna.
Colombo's biggest street food festival is currently underway down on Hospital Street in Fort. Thousands of people had come to celebrate the one thing that brings everyone together: great food.
Now I'm at Hospital Street, Colombo for the Colombo Food Festival, where there is a large number of people gathered here today. After a long time, people have been able to gather in crowded places after the corona pandemic, and people are here in their numbers to enjoy a delicious meal with their families. I'm reporting for Newsfirst.
Actually, I'm coming here after a very long time, and this is maybe my 3rd or 4th experience in food. So one thing is, like, I get to taste a lot of experienced food like Indian food, pani puri, gulab jamun and all those kind of food. So I am really enjoying it.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. So like looking forward to have fun tonight.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's with the family. So we are having a great time. Had a shot with pani puri, so it's delicious.
The 4th edition of the Divisavya program, supported by LOLC Holdings, seeking to support the most impoverished communities in Sri Lanka, continued for the 20th day. Today's program was carried out centering the Trincomalee district.
The aim of the Divisavya program is to support low-income earners to get nutritious meals on a daily basis. Today's program, supported by LOLC Holdings, got underway in the Trincomalee district. Under the Divisavya program, essential goods are being distributed to low-income families facing serious financial difficulties across Sri Lanka.
And that's a wrap of primetime news here on TV1. As always, thank you for watching. Stay safe, take care and have a good night.